Good. Yay! Thank you, Ms. Trish. Good morning again, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this cold, cold morning in St. Pete. My name is Ross, and I'm a member of the 2025-2026 UUSP Board of Trustees. For those of you who are new to UU churches, let me explain one quick thing. A Unitarian Universalist minister typically leads about 2 out of every 3 services per year. On the other Sundays, like today, a guest or a congregant will lead the services. Today's worship leader is John Motter, although we will hear from Reverend Ben, newly back from some travels and having himself a hectic morning during our service today.
Good morning. Welcome both in the sanctuary and online to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg on the land stolen from the Tocobaga and Seminole Native Americans. For pagans, today and tomorrow mark Imbolc, which is the halfway point between winter and spring equinox. There was originally a time when one started to think about and plan for the year's harvest. In more modern times, it's often used as a great time to reflect on where you want to go in the next few months. For people of the Jewish faith, it is Tu B'Shabbat, or the New Year to the new trees. Originally, this was a time where they would have a Seder and eat 30 kinds of fruit in a specific order as a way to prepare for the upcoming season, harvest season. And today it's more the equivalent of Arbor Day, where trees are planted or environmental issues action is taken on. My name indeed is John Motter. My pronouns are he, him. You may be looking up here and thinking, neither of those guys looks like David Roth. And you would be correct. David Roth, who was scheduled to lead the service today, lives on the Cape in Massachusetts. And because of the weather forecast, he had to fly home on Friday to make sure property was safe and his wife was not there alone. So we hope that he and anyone else that's affected by the storm has remained safe and continues to remain safe. But there is a bright side to everything, and so I'm excited to bring you today's worship service. Where do we go from here? With today's bright side, a.k.a. Worship Associate Ross.
Oh, ta-da! This is as big of a surprise to me as it is to you. So I am delighted to be here today. Thank you, John. If you want a church where we open our minds to new thoughts with curiosity, if you want a church where we declare every person inherently worthy, where we believe every being has the right to flourish with dignity, with love, with compassion, I have good news for you today. May have found your church home.
Indeed, the last couple of days have been a bit of a scramble, but we're pulling through. Today is the Social Justice Share the Plate Sunday, where one half of the loose offerings will go to support the operation of this church, and the other half of the plate goes to one of the social justice programs. This month, we're collecting on behalf of the UU's Helping People's Friday Night Supper and the Cold Night Shelter. We share our Friday night meal with as many as 130 friends each week, and we all know how cold it's been, and so our Cold Night Shelter has opened and continues to provide overnight shelter this month. Please be generous if you are able to during our offering.
You can read your additional announcements in our order of service that you have, also in our monthly newsletter, which you're welcome to subscribe to if you have not yet, and on the TV in Gilmore Hall next door during our coffee hour.
As Unitarian Universalists, we're a people of diverse beliefs, but we share a common faith that every being is worthy of love, that what we do in this world matters, and that we are connected to one another and to the earth. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your journey, you are most definitely welcomed here. We find that like-minded friends are finding our church during this difficult time in our country's history. And so if you are visiting us today, might you raise your hand and give us a wave? Lots of new folks. Thank you for finding us and showing up today. This will give our congregation an opportunity to recognize and welcome you.
And if you haven't already done so, could you put your cell phone into worship mode right now? Our regular congregants know that right now we often pause and we ask our new visitors to introduce themselves. We also pause and say hello to each other. We're going to do the service just a little bit differently today. Today, we sincerely invite everyone to settle in, get comfortable, let your mind focus on the words and the messages that may help us all learn where to go from here.
And we'll see. And we'll sing the children out to class right now.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Now please rise as you are willing and able for our first hymn, Gather the Spirit. It's number 347 in the gray hymnal. And please remain standing afterwards for our chalice lighting.
Gather the Spirit, harvest the power. Our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour. Our trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in things, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind. Seize for the sowing are laid in store. Nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in things, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit, growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun. Winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in things, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again.
The flaming chalice is a reminder that we choose to focus our attention here together for this time today, and that we believe such time is sacred. When Jeff Bamborough and Jerry Humphrey Gates lights our chalice, I invite you to say our covenant out loud. The words can be found in your programs and online. Feel free to follow along with 2 hand movements, hand to heart, and then hands reaching out like you're serving. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please go ahead and be seated. Thank you, Jerry and Jeff. Dr. Stacy Patton is an award-winning journalist, author, historian, and nationally recognized child advocate. She holds degrees from NYU and Rutgers and is currently a research associate professor at Morgan State University and teaches journalism at Howard University. Thanks to our own Kelly Patton, no relation to Dr. Patton, for sharing this post of Stacy's. I find the words powerful and deeply inspirational in how they describe the strength of Alex Preddy's values and character. But I also want to caution you that they can be upsetting because of the brutally honest description of Alex Preddy's final moments. Let's take a moment to settle ourselves for the reading. If you'd like, you can shut your eyes while we take a couple of deep breaths. A deep breath in through the nose, hold, and exhale through the mouth. Another deep breath in through the nose, hold, and exhale through the mouth. Here are Stacy's words. What makes that video so unbearable to watch isn't only that ICE agent killed Alex Preddy, it's that in the middle of being shoved, struck, and repeatedly blasted in the face with chemical spray, his body kept doing one thing, reaching for a woman who had just been knocked down, reaching for clarity through the burning in his eyes, reaching to put himself between her and whatever was coming next. You can see that he is disoriented, choking, and staggering, but still his instinct is protection. He isn't posturing or trying to be a hero for a camera. He's trying to focus so he can shield somebody else. His nervous system is under assault, his vision is blurred, his lungs are on fire, and yet his moral center doesn't collapse inward. It expands outward toward another human being in danger. Maybe he knew her, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But that's almost beside the point. What the footage shows is a man whose first reflex under state violence was not self-preservation at all cost, but solidarity, care, the ancient, almost forgotten impulse to say, you are not going to face this alone. That is what makes his killing so devastating. The state didn't just shoot a protester. It shot someone in the act of trying to protect a woman. It shot a man whose last visible choice was compassion, whose final posture was not aggression, but guardianship. And that is the deepest obscenity of the footage. It's watching a system built on force extinguish a body that was, even in terror, still reaching for love. Damn.
These are hard words to hear. These are heavy words. This is unimaginable visual that we've seen and experienced together. In today's service, you're going to hear from thought leaders, our beloved Sabine, our Reverend Ben, who is trying to get here, John, about where we go from here and why. I'm also going to give my 2 cents in this, but let's first take a couple more deep breaths together and do our stones. I mentioned earlier, today we'll do our stones a bit differently. We typically take up cards and share our stones of joy, sorrow, and concern from all of our congregants and all of the people watching online. Today we'll be specific about how we do our stones. Today we'll have 1 stone in each category, but if you have a card and if you have things that you need to release from your heart and share with our heart, do bring those up, and we will absolutely keep them, share them with our minister and with our care team. Right now, we'll ask Amy Rodriguez to come up to place our stones in the water. And while she's walking up, I'd like to apologize to John that I got just a little bit off script there, but I believe I'm back on.
Yep, you certainly are. Let's place a stone of sorrow for the 9 people killed by ICE in 2026. We know the names of the white victims, but unsurprisingly, probably have not heard of the other 7. Their names are Alex Preddy, Renee Good, Keith Porter, Herbert Sanchez Dominguez, Victor Manuel Diaz, Parity La, Luis Beltran Yanes Cruz, Luis Gustavo Nunez Caceres, and Gerardo Lunas Campos. We'll place a stone of ongoing concern for the safety of people in ICE custody. We know from news reports that conditions at facilities like Alcatraz Alley are poor and lacking in basic things like proper nutrition and medical care. In just the first year of the current administration, the number of people in ICE custody has gone from about 40,000 to roughly 73,000. That's a 75% increase. There's 104 more facilities, which is a 91% increase over the last year. And sadly, in 2025, 32 people died while in ICE custody. This tied the previous record set in 2004. These deaths do include those from natural causes, untreated or undertreated medical conditions while in custody, alleged suicide, and causes that are still under investigation.
And we'll do a stone of overarching joy for all of our friends here who have and who continue to volunteer for our cold night shelter. Each week in our church, we appreciate someone or someones who have worked hard to accomplish our mission, and the work of these friends absolutely personifies our UUSP mission. If any of you with us today have in any manner supported our cold night shelter, if you've spent the nights up here, if you're going to spend tonight or other nights up here, or if you've assisted in any background way, could you stand up and let us smile and recognize you? Bad things go on. Good things go on. We are part of the good. This is part of the good. Let's place a final stone for the joys, sorrows, and concerns written this week, or any that remain in our hearts, perhaps too tender to be spoken aloud. May each of us find a comforting and compassionate presence in the warmth of fellowship and community. Sorry about that little hiccup a minute ago from me. You may see as I share for a moment why my head is full right now. I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. These stones, the poem that John has read, these are heavy words. These are hard things to hear. Again, in today's service, we will hear from Sabine, from Ben, from John about where we go from here, why and how. But before our responsive reading, I would like to share my 2 cents. And that is, I believe, and I'm not asking you to agree with me, but I believe where we go from here, I believe we're already here. Life is not going to be any better than it is right this minute. And just as strongly, I do not believe that this is bad news. I truly don't. I think it just means that to thrive, to not let all of the things going on right now take us to deep points that we can't come back from, we probably have to switch off any of the past mental tools that we've used for our own survival and implement new ones in their place. Let me give you an example. This one is about my family, and it's personal, and it's vulnerable, and I do have my husband's permission to share this, and I trust you. I trust those of you watching online as well. About 4 years ago, our marriage suffered an upheaval that neither one of us saw coming. Jimmy and I had been together for 24 years. We raised a son together. The events that occurred here in St. Pete were so unbelievable, so traumatic, they were so heartbreaking. We became so hateful. We were just awful to each other. I won't tell his story, but mine is this. I didn't leave the house for several weeks. I stopped interacting with all friends. I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating mostly. I for sure stopped drinking alcohol. And just to kind of give you a little bit of a picture, I lost 50 pounds in about 2 months. For a while there, I honestly did not care what happened to me. Jimmy and I both desperately probed, where do we possibly go from here? But the universe, as it always does, showed us that the mental tools that had gotten us here were not the ones required to go forward. They were not helping anymore. And in fact, the tools that we had relied on, that I had relied on, they were actually probably harmful. If I wanted to live in a new state of mind, in a new state of health, I had to find a different tool. So we'd been trying one thing after another to fight this thing from taking over our lives, and it was revealed that in doing so, we were both daily, hourly, minutely creating new expectations, and our aha was that when we create expectations of any sort, of what this world will be, of what our lives will be, of what our home will be, expectations only lead to resentments. Our history happened. It's not going to not have happened, and we needed new mental tools. So here's what happened. We deactivated every shred of social media in our lives. No Facebook, no Instagram, no LinkedIn. Anything that could send us down a rabbit hole. We started reading Mary Oliver. We said only kind things to each other, mechanically at first, but it got to sort of be a rewiring. We started to find a certain joy, as Liz James a couple of years ago told us in this very sanctuary, in realizing that each of us was not the most important person in the room. We decided to visit a church. We came here on our first visit. You're not going to believe this, and I'm not making this up. The topic in April of 2022, when we arrived, was awakening to healing and light. No joke. Rev Ben's words gave me all kinds of aha and all kinds of nourishment. Michael Pohl read a poem by Alice Walker. My Alice Walker! I thought, there is a power greater than myself. And I thought, please, let this be my life. And it is. To this day, no social media, none. I don't trust myself not to get triggered. Are there costs to it? Yes, there are costs. I have not seen the videos that most of you have seen. I'm not going to. I can't. And that is what it takes for me. Online is where information happens. That's where things happen these days. I can't even see our church Facebook page. I miss out on all sorts of things, but my head's not buried in the sand. I got a paper subscription to the New York Times, the Tampa Bay Times. Jane Bunker introduced me to Heather Cox Richardson. I read her. I watch the recap of my PBS girls on Mondays. That's Tam Cook and Amy Walter. My PBS boys on Fridays. That's Jonathan Capehart and David Brooks. It turns out we live in a time when it's pretty much impossible to not know the important things, and it's not my job to be the very first one. This past Friday, when our darling, Catherine O'Hara passed away unexpectedly, so many of my friends texted me to make sure I was in the know. If you don't recognize her name, she's the effulgent, hyper-articulate Moira on Schitt's Creek, and she got many of us through the pandemic. We didn't want one of the good ones to be gone. She was wacky, and she had her way of being so liberating. It's enveloping. It was a different tool. So let me land this plane. Y'all, the world is heavy right now. It's possible that it's going to be heavier tomorrow. When I feel the first tugs of disturbance, well, many of you will recognize this. I ask for the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And for now, I guard my serenity so that I don't become part of a problem. I find ways to share my peace. It's not heavy lifting like so many of you are capable of, but it is something. And I can do it today and every day. Thank you for causing the good trouble. Thank you for changing the things I can't. Come see me when you need a recharge or a hug or a smile. I do see where we go from here. We're already there together. Thank you. So let's have a responsive reading. You can find the words in your order of service. I'll begin, and you'll join me in the bold parts where it says congregation. May our hearts not become calloused by the never-ending incidences of oppression and hatred that so many face each day. Rather, may we keep our hearts open to the positive efforts of so many good people causing good trouble in the world.
May we have the strength to demand and gain the right for all people to have a safe place to sleep, health care to keep them strong, and the knowledge that their lives matter.
Longer than it should, but we'll get there if we continue to strive for basic human rights.
May all of us find a comforting and compassionate presence in the warmth of fellowship in the community. Participants in the UU St. Pete community come together out of a common belief that what we do in this world matters. The mystery is that we are connected even when we feel apart. Let us rejoice in our beloved community that makes of the many one. So may it be. Let's take a minute of silence together.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ben. My pronouns are he and they. Thank you so much, Todd. Thank you, Liam. Thank you, John. Thank you, Ross. It's good to see you all. I've just returned late last night from the UU Ministers Association Institute in Albuquerque. And right before that, I was in Minneapolis. And many of you heard me speak about that last Sunday. But when leaders in Minneapolis put out the call for clergy to come, I felt a stirring deep in my heart. I was called to be there, but I was not sure I was ready. I didn't have the right clothing. I don't even own a pair of wool socks. Lucinda's allergic to wool. In the Hebrew Bible, the prophet Isaiah says, "For a long time I have kept silent. I have been quiet and held myself back. But now," Isaiah says, "like a woman in childbirth, I cry out. I gasp and pant. I will lead," Isaiah says, "by ways they have not known. Along unfamiliar paths, I will guide them." Now, for many years, ICE has separated families, and many of us have remained silent. For years, ICE has put children in cages, and many of us have been quiet. And this year alone, ICE has killed Keith Porter, Herbert Sanchez Dominguez, Victor Manuel Diaz, Paradila, Luis Beltran Yanes Cruz, Luis Gustavo Nunez Caceres, and Geraldo Lunas Campos. But many of us held ourselves back. Then they murdered Renee Good. Call went out, and hundreds of clergy came. I was one of 1,200 clergy, one of 300 Unitarian Universalist clergy to come to Minneapolis. Then Alex Pretty was killed, and many clergy stayed in Minneapolis, and millions of us are out on the streets. Maybe we should have been here all along, but we're here now. So like me, and like Ross and Jimmy, you may be unsure of the right thing to do, but I was led along unfamiliar paths, and I found the Minneapolis churches to be filled with mountains of donated coats for those of us who came from warmer states. I found them to be filled with piles of boots, with thousands of hand warmers, platters of donated food, and yes, this small hill of wool socks. You may be unsure of what to do next, of where we go from here, but I have good news. Prophet Isaiah speaks with the voice of his God when he says, "I will lead by ways they have not known. Along unfamiliar paths I will guide them." And many of us have different beliefs than Isaiah, but still we will be guided along unfamiliar paths. Our Unitarian Universalist values will guide us. Our UU theology will guide us. We have theology. All beings are precious. We are all interdependent. And love will guide us. Love will guide us. We ask for the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. We don't know where we'll go from here, but there will be signs, piles of wool socks, free food on platters, warm hearts and helping hands during the cold night shelter, words of truth at this Thursday's City Council meeting, the words of Mary Oliver, the words of Alice Walker, and many others. We don't know where we'll go from here, but we are guided by wisdom, by the wisdom of our leaders here at UU St. Pete, by the words of our leaders in the denomination, including President Dr. Reverend Sophia Betancourt, who was arrested for civil disobedience, protesting funding for ICE in Washington, D.C. Not one more dime. We're guided by voices of those on the margins that have been historically silenced, and we're guided by our love for one another, by our love for our planet, by our love for justice. Ross, I think you said it, bad things do go on, good things do go on, and we are part of the good. So let us gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion, and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
This song by Jonathan Larson is maybe one of his most autobiographical, and it's about him not quite knowing where he's going, but making a choice to keep going, even if certain successes never show up. And in fact, Jonathan passed away before he won all of his big awards and before he got to see his shows on Broadway. When I was 9, Michael and I entered a talent show down at the Y. 9 a.m. went to rehearse by some stairs. Mike couldn't sing. I said, no one cares. We sang Yellow Bird and Let's Go Fly a Kite. Over and over and over till we got it right. When we emerged from the YMCA, 3 o'clock sun had made the grass. Hey, I thought, hey, what a way to spend a day. Hey, what a way to spend a day. I make a vow right here and now. I'm gonna spend my time this way. When I was 16, Michael and I got parts in West Side at White Plains High. 3 o'clock, went to rehearse in the gym. Mike played Doc, who didn't sing. Fine with him, we sang "Got a Rocket in Your Pocket," and the Jets are gonna have their day tonight, over and over and over, till we got it right. When we emerged, wiped out by that play, 9 o'clock, stars and moon lit the way. I thought, hey, what a way to spend a day. Hey, what a way to spend a day. I made a vow. I wonder now, am I cut out to spend my time this way? With only so much time to spend, don't want to waste the time I'm given. Have it all, play the game some recommend. I'm afraid it just may be time to give in. I'm 29. Michael and I live on the west side of Soho, NY. 9 a.m. I write a lyric or two. Mike sings his song now on Mad Avenue. I sing, come to your senses, defenses are not the way to go. Over and over and over till I get it right. When I emerge from B minor or A, 5 o'clock diner calls, I'm on my way. I think, hey, what a way to spend a day. Hey, what a way to spend a day. I make a vow right here and now. I'm gonna spend my time this way. I'm gonna spend my time this way.
Morning. What day of the week is it? Well done. Yesterday morning, Dark 100, I was scrolling through Instagram for some humor, some distraction, public inspiration, political inspiration, and then I watched, sorry Ross, don't listen, Bruce Springsteen's newest video dedicated to Minneapolis. I burst into tears, though, as I saw images of concentrated horror. But then I went about the business of planning this weekend's 2 activations of our cold night shelter. We've already hosted unsheltered people here at UUSP 4 nights since the beginning of the winter season, plus last night. This past week, we hosted 17 individuals for 3 consecutive nights, 24 volunteers each night. Welcome, serve food, keep watch throughout the night, offer toiletries and warm clothes, and clean so that no trace of our activities is left. It occurred to me this is one thing that we do which is loaded with stories of resiliency. Here are some examples. It's Reggie and Jeff keeping this old house functioning so that our plumbing works upstairs, the rooms are cozy, and the place is warm. It's a line of cold men and women lined up outside our kitchen door hoping to gain entry into our space. It's Geneva setting up a table, signing people up for free bus passes. It's Carol Ulmer figuring out how to replace a no-show when yours truly is out cold sleeping, and it's in the middle of the night. It's Bob Klingman returning to UUSP after 45 years, singing the morning song with me and pushing around a broom upstairs as we usher guests to a warm breakfast. It's Rob, a UU in spirit, driving overflow guests to shelter with space all over the county. I don't know if anybody remembers Ann Justice. Her daughter, Adrienne, is driving too. She tried her darndest to get a bicycle and all the many accoutrements of an unsheltered person into her sedan. And we found out there are indeed limits. It's Rob, Geneva, and Sandra finding accommodations for a young man who showed up at 11 in tears, new to homelessness, and distraught. He was followed by a man showing up at midnight on his bike. John and Sandra found a location still accepting guests and bolstered him up with food. It's Emily, she's new here to UU, Venmoing me $25 twice because her heart is here, but her responsibilities as a working mom are elsewhere. It's Courtney washing all the used blankets at a laundromat after cleaning all the toilets each morning, which I'm just gonna, It's, yay Courtney. It's John Motter working through his grief with activism. He does the midnight to 5 a.m. shift every activation, and then conks out on one of RE's beanbags by the kitchen alley door. I nearly jumped through the roof, arriving at 4:30 a.m. and discovering him completely out, and then sleeping through George, Claudia's, Christine's, and my bustling around the kitchen getting breakfast ready. Resiliency is a guest, frail, bedraggled, hefting up his loaded walker up Conway stairs to get to a sleeping area. Nope, I don't need any help. It's a young mom, Brittany, with her 2 boys who remind me of the Motter boys, who are just, they're in a constant act of motion, wrestling each other. But they arrived at our kitchen door from Dunedin with bags of blankets they had collected from all their neighbors. It's the buzz of volunteers in the kitchen and throughout the Conway Hall, making the magic happen without my saying a word. This is their ministry. It's inviting people coming to our door to come in and get a hot meal, even if there's no room to sleep. We'll find you a place. It's Todd. Seeing the extended forecast, day after day of severe weather, took it upon himself to publicize our need for volunteers. We are living in deplorable times in many ways. But UUSP members and friends are serving our most vulnerable neighbors at our Friday night suppers. Thank you, Jimmy, Jeanette, and Anna. And getting people out of the cold to eat and to sleep. So many stories of resiliency. In the words of Susan Gore, who after her first shift said, "This work feeds my soul." Thank you.
We eat fruit from trees planted long before we were born. May we plant seeds that bear fruit long after we're gone. Many people, it turns out, depend on this. In the sanctuary, the offering will now be given and received.
That which is given in love is received with great joy. Thank you very much. I'd like to say I'm really emotional because of the lack of sleep. But anybody who's a regular here knows that that's kind of a crock. So I get teary-eyed a lot of times, so bear with me. The theme for this month is embodying resilience. And resiliency is often thought of as that ability to bounce back or recover from some type of trauma. We often think of resilience as something an individual does on their own. You need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, or what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. But what happens when I don't own a pair of boots? What happens if I'm alive but I'm on life support? Am I really going to get stronger? I would argue that true resilience, true individual resilience, is a fallacy. An individual, through their relationships with others, gathers support or encouragement that aids that resiliency. Sabine mentioned my working through my grief by volunteering each of the overnight shifts. I hadn't really looked at it that way, but she's right. It gets me out of my head and into the service of others. The first year we did the cold nights shelter, I would do the 9 to midnight shift, and then my brother would come in and do the midnight to 5 a.m. That way my mom was never at home alone. Somebody was always looking out for her. Last year, unfortunately, because Bill had moved away, I couldn't volunteer. And this year, now that Mom's gone, I'm back, and I'm able to fill a slot that is really difficult for many to cover. I've also been part of a weekly caregivers call for the past year and a half. The initial 5 people are now 6, meeting over Zoom each Thursday at 1 p.m. We share resources, talk about our week, the highs, the lows. We unload our burdens. Karen Cole and I are no longer caregivers, but we still join in on those calls. The other 4 people need us as much as we need them. We support each other. So yes, I feel in that sense I am resilient. I'm bouncing back, not on my own, but with the aid and help of many people around me. And that brings me to another point. Where am I bouncing back to? It's certainly not to the place I was before. That's an impossibility. That point doesn't exist. I'm bouncing back to a place that I can be comfortable with at the present moment. So what does this have to do with all the unrest that we're experiencing in our country? The country I knew is dead, but a new America will take place of the one that is gone. It can be a fascist America, like what the current administration is attempting to create, or it can be a new and improved America, one in which we look out for those that have less than us, one in which power is not controlled by an elite group of men that put money ahead of the rights of human beings. Some would say that I'm not living in reality, but I would strongly disagree with them. I have hope for our country, and that is a huge thing. In 2017, I was in such a deep depression for months. I couldn't comprehend how the person living in the White House was elected. To me, it was a moral failure on the part of our country. It reached to the lowest point of me being nearly suicidal. Eventually, with the help of an excellent therapist, I began to come out of that depression. And so when that same White House inhabitant announced his candidacy in 2024, I didn't get depressed. I got myself prepared. I was prepared for things to get worse, and they have in many ways. They have worsened in most every way possible. I don't need to list them, since we all are painfully aware of the erosion of our freedoms. But I would argue that the country is resilient and it will bounce back. It will not bounce back to be the country that it was. The damage has been done, and some of that damage is irreparable. It does me no good to regret what has been lost. I can only look at what can be. Listen. The winner of the election did not get the majority of the total vote. They were elected with 49.8% of the votes. I was an accountant, by the way, so bear with the numbers. Roughly 2.3 million votes separated them from the Democratic candidate. The New York Times recently reported on the current approval ratings for the president. Of 155 reliable polls, there were 46 polls that showed an unfavorable result, with 14% being the average margin of disapproval. So we can definitely bounce back. I spoke about things we are doing and can do during the Martin Luther King service a few weeks back. Reverend Ben spoke last week and again this week about the powerful actions taken by thousands of people in Minneapolis. Sabine talked about the resiliency of our UUSP community and the unhoused guests that we are supporting through the cold night shelter and Friday night suppers. These are things that give me hope, and they should definitely give you all hope. Our little UUSP community is roughly 150 people. Look around and consider what we have been able to accomplish. 17 people slept indoors last night, and that same number will be indoors again tonight. People escorted women yesterday as they entered a clinic for an abortion. Some of you were on the corners of 34th Street and 22nd Avenue protesting. Some of you will be doing the same thing tonight at the county jail where ICE is housing people. Some of you made calls to your elected officials. Some of you showed up at the Living the Pledge training last Tuesday. Some of you read articles so that you know what's happening in our country. and all of you showed up this morning to support each other and to nourish yourselves. Just under 78 million people did not vote for the person residing in the White House. That is the equivalent of nearly 520,000 UUSPs. To not have hope that we can change the current direction that our country is moving would be ignoring the facts. The collective resilience of the citizens of this country is capable of creating positive change. A moment ago, I said our country won't bounce back to what it was, and that is definitely true. We do have the ability to bounce back in ways that may make it better. It will take a lot of effort to repair the damage that has been done. Things like rebuilding the trust of our NATO allies. We can't bring back the lives of people that will or have died because of sudden defunding of USAID money for food and medicine throughout the world. The damage done through defunding medical research wiped out, in some cases, decades of progress for finding the cures to multiple illnesses. So what is the silver lining in those sad facts? We have the unique opportunity to start from scratch in some areas. Some institutions will need to be rebuilt from the ground up. Rather than the Doge approach, they can be rebuilt with more thought and insight so as to be more effective going forward. Immigration laws have been problematic for years. We have the chance to reform that system so that it is more aligned with the realities of today's world. Where do we go from here? We keep doing our little piece of work that we're already doing. That looks different for each of us, and that's as it should be. Don't lose hope in our efforts to make our world better for all. When you see someone down, support them until they have the strength to get back up. And when you are the one down, keep an eye open for an outstretched hand. Our faith is centered in love, and love shines a bright light that erases the darkness created by hate. Keep love in your heart always as you leave today, and keep it there throughout the week. Know that you have the support of a community that values you, believes in your inherent worth. Like Reverend Ben, he cut this part from his talk, so I'll repeat. Like Reverend Ben, you may have doubts. You may be unsure and you may be afraid, but that's okay. Because if you consistently do what you think is right, then more often than not, you are taking a step in the right direction. Amen, I say, and blessed be. Now please rise as you are willing and able for our closing hymn, number 121 in the gray hymnal, We'll Build a Land.
And for our humanist friends out there today, feel free to sing the word God lowercase. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and will give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll be a land building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come, build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come build the land, my people we seek. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
You may be seated. We're running just a few minutes late, so we'll wind this out here. Our closing words, borrowed in part from a longer poem by Silas House, Poet Laureate of the state of Kentucky. A darkness drops, but now I know. To survive, sometimes you dance on the porch, or you cry on the kitchen floor. I've howled in grief before, and if it helped, I'm still not sure. Put on the kettle, brew the tea, stir the stew, we'll visit some more. To survive, don't pick the flowers, slip your feet in the creek. Don't turn on the light, or they'll see us inside. Just shine bright enough, and you'll blind their snipers. If they tell you you're crazy, show them you are, like a fox. To survive, be cunning but kind, be shrewd but never mean, be a knife that is sharpened each time they cut you, but keep the meat of your heart tender. Be aware, watch closely, but do not truck in empire. We need no kingdom, for the power and the glory are already ours, forever. Please remain seated as Liam plays our postlude.
Actually, if you feel like standing and dancing and singing with us, do so.
Oh, even better. Get us clapping. Get us on beat, Todd.
I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky start tumbling down. I feel my heart start tumbling whenever you're around. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky start tumbling down. I feel my heart start trembling whenever you're around. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, it's tumbling down. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, a tumbling down, a tumbling down.
We invite you to follow along with the hand gestures. I invite all of you Unitarians who make me feel real good about my musical timing and whatnot, we invite you to follow along as Jeff, Jerry, release our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world.
Our worship is over, but our service begins. Please join us for coffee in Gilmore Hall. And if you see someone not talking to anyone, maybe go up and say hello. We hope this time together will help you through your week and will help you remember that you are definitely not alone. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you.
I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down. I feel my heart start to trembling whenever you're around.